Seidio. Real usage, real reviews. mobilereviews.ca. Hey guys, it's Aaron from mobilereviews.ca, and today we're going to do the full review for the Seidio Obex. The Seidio Obex. Seidio is a case maker. They make a lot of cases for a variety of different devices. For the iPhone 5 and the 5S, they have about 4 different cases, and this is their most expensive one. The Seidio Obex is a very slim, ruggedized case. It's droppable from 6 feet and submergible to 6.6 feet. One of the interesting things to note is that Seidio says you can continuously submerge this case with the device in it up to 1 meter, continuous, like forever if you wanted to. And then 2 meters, it's only 30 minutes. And that's actually kind of neat that they've mentioned that. Overall, we gave this case a score of 4 A's out of 5. It basically had 4s across the entire board except for 2 scores. Seidio says you can't use the iPhone 5S for this case. I used it for about 3 weeks on my honeymoon with the 5S. The only thing you couldn't get to was the Touch ID, and that's not a big problem because the Touch ID isn't a critical function to the use of the iPhone anyways. The nice thing is that the flash compartment is big enough to accommodate the 2-tone flash. So if you're looking for a slim, ruggedized case for the 5S, this is not a bad case to go with. In terms of design, we gave it 4 A's out of 5. It's basically scored 4s across the entire board. This case barely adds any weight or bulk to your iPhone 5 or 5S. It actually tapers off in the middle, so certain parts are thicker, but for the most part, you won't actually feel it because your hand's always going to be in the middle part of the case. In terms of the ease of installation, it is slightly harder than installing some of the easiest cases. The only thing we have that kind of annoyed us was that the O-ring, the red O-ring that comes in the top of the case, that has a tendency to pop out. So when you're snapping the case together, you just have to take your fingernail and just kind of pop it back in. That's the only thing that would knock it down a point in terms of the installation. The build quality for this case is very nice. Initially, I thought it was a little cheap because it was so light, but after using it for 3 weeks, I'm very impressed with the build quality of this case. In terms of the protection, we didn't give it 4s across the board. The droppability scored a little lower than everything else, but the weather protection or the water protection scored higher. In terms of droppability, we dropped it about 6 times on a concrete floor, and the case came apart 4 out of the 6 drops. It didn't come apart completely, but it did come apart at certain connections or some of the joints. And so if you were to drop it more than once consecutively, then yeah, that'd be a problem, but definitely know that the case has come apart after you've dropped it and you just have to snap it back together. In terms of the water protection for the case, I was a little apprehensive about how waterproof this was because these latches seem kind of, I'll say, lackluster. We tossed in a little bucket of water and it stayed dry, the inside of the case, and so we tossed a phone into it and we tossed it into a river and, well, the phone still works. It's this phone and it's still on. In terms of the screen protection of this case, we gave it a 4 as well. The screen protector is very nice and it feels tighter. It feels like it's stretched out better across the entire case than other cases. From all the drops and all the scratches and from all the usage that I put into it, I didn't have any problems with the screen protector. It didn't scratch the screen on the inside and didn't scratch it on the outside. For the last category, the functionality, we gave it 4s across the board. The handling, you can access everything that you wanted to. One thing of note is that it's not a circular home button, it's rectangular, which is a little different, and I thought that was kind of neat. Power button's easy to get to, the plus minus button. Some of the tougher cases, right, you have a hard time pushing these buttons. Not the case for the Seidio Obex. One of the interesting things to note is that accessing the lightning port connector and the headphone jack, it uses the same kind of plastic plugs, and so it's a little different in the fact that you don't have 2 plugs, you just have one really big plug. But accessing the headphone jack by itself is easy because the latch actually holds down the lightning port plug. In terms of the screen usability, this is one of the areas where this case shines because, as you can tell, the case doesn't cover the entire screen. It's nice in the fact that you can access the control panel and all your to-do stuffs of iOS 7 through these corners quite easily, and that's a very nice feature for a ruggedized case. The final score of the functionality category is the viewability, and the viewability of this case is awesome. It doesn't add a lot of glare to it, but you will notice that there are little dots across the entire screen. And from our research, these little dots they're there to reduce the kind of rainbowing effect that a lot of these plastic screen protectors have. And again, that adds to the fact that this screen is very easy to use. doesn't add a lot of glare, and well, you almost forget that there's a screen protector there. That's how great the screen protector is on this device. So again, we give this case a score of 4 A's out of 5. This is it's one of my favorite cases now out of the 1.5 dozen that we've reviewed in the last couple of months. If you have any questions about this case, leave them in the comment section below. Find us on Google+, Twitter, and all those wonderful social media platforms. I'm Aaron the Ho. I'm a reviewer at mobilereviewsa.ca. And if you're looking for a thin, stylish, ruggedized case to put into your suit jacket pocket thing, this is the one you should get. Thanks for watching.